Why is it called Latin America? I mean, we don't speak Latin, and critics say it reduces us to a generic, colonized label. So then why do I use it for the name of my podcast and YouTube channel? Let's unpack this together. Let's start with the basics. What does Latin America mean? The term refers to regions in the Americas where Romance languages, Spanish, French, and Portuguese are mostly spoken, Latin-based languages. This includes Mexico, Central America, South America, and parts of the Caribbean, like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic, with the exclusion of Guyana, French Guiana, and Suriname, where languages like Creole languages, indigenous languages, Dutch, and a host of other languages are spoken in smaller numbers. But here's the thing, the term didn't come from the region. We didn't call ourselves that. It was coined by European powers in the 19th century, specifically during the French intervention of Mexico from 1861 to 1867. In this intervention, Napoleon III, seeking to expand France's influence in the Americas, installed Emperor Maximilian of Austria as the ruler of a French-controlled empire in Mexico. Their excuse? Mexico, under President Benito Juárez, had suspended foreign debt payments due to economic collapse. Most of the money they owed was to Spain, Britain, and France. Spain and the UK negotiated and left. But France, on the other hand, invaded, under the pretense of collecting their money, but it was also to counter U.S. influence in the Americas. Now, while the French intervention might not be something that everybody knows, most people do know about Cinco de Mayo, which celebrates Mexico's victory at the Battle of Puebla on May 5, 1862. A smaller, poorly armed Mexican army defeated a much larger French force, delaying their advance in the country. Think the Spartans in 300, but with mole poblano. While the French eventually did take Mexico City, resistance continued. And with American support after the U.S. Civil War, the French were driven out in 1867. Emperor Maximilian of Austria was executed, and that was the end of French rule in Mexico. But what does this have to do with the term Latin America? Well, during the intervention, French thinkers promoted the term Latin America, suggesting a cultural kinship with Latin-based language speakers, like in Europe. We were all just one big Romance language-speaking dysfunctional family. But after that, politicians, scholars, and nationalists used the term as a unifying label against colonial powers. And they used the term Latin America as a rallying call to fight for independence from European powers and also the U.S. It was a rebranding of the term. So while it did encourage regional solidarity, I can see where people today would have a problem with the term. The term Latin America can ignore the rich indigenous cultures of the area, African influences, and the diversity of the region. It's not just Latin or Latin-based languages. It's so much more. And so my critics say, hey Andrew, why do you use a term that's so rooted in colonialism to describe your channel and podcast? Doesn't it erase the unique identity of all the countries of the area? Terms like this can feel reductive, and they were born from a time when Europeans wanted to dominate and subjugate the area. So why do I still use the term Latin America in the mysteries of Latin America? Because for better or worse, it's a term that most people recognize. It's also a concise way to describe a vast and diverse region to a global audience. But here's the thing. When I use the term Latin America, I'm inviting people into a conversation about the myths, legends, history, and mysteries of the region that connect us. But it doesn't mean I ignore the term's flaws. In the podcast and YouTube channel, my goal is to reclaim the label by celebrating the uniqueness of each area and the different indigenous, African, and other influences that are often overshadowed. At the end of the day, Latin America isn't a perfect term, and I respect you if you feel it's not the right one. But here's my take. It's a starting point, not an end point. What matters most are the stories we tell, the cultures we honor, and the history we uncover together. So what do you think? Should I move away from the term entirely? Can you come up with a better one? Or can we reclaim it to celebrate the area's diversity? That's my mission here. Let me know in the comments. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the Mysteries of Latin America. My name is Andrew Colon, and the idea here is to share the myths, legends, history, and unsolved mysteries that make this region of the world so special. If you want to join us on the journey, hit subscribe, check out the other videos, and share it with family and friends. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and let's keep learning together. Adios.